Did the Democrats and Republicans switch sides? You've probably heard people say that Republicans used to be progressive, Democrats used to be conservative, and at some point the parties just kind of swapped. But the real story is much more complicated than a simple switch like that. You see, American political parties have changed constantly throughout history. Historians usually divide U.S. political history into 6 major party systems, where parties represented very different ideas depending on the time period. Back in the late 1700s, during the first party system, politics wasn't about modern liberal versus conservative ideas at all. The big divide was between the Federalists, led by Alexander Hamilton, and the Democratic Republicans, led by Thomas Jefferson. Hamilton's Federalists wanted a strong federal government, a national bank, and closer economic ties with Britain. Jefferson's side believed in states' rights and an agricultural society. Those debates were completely different from the issues that define politics today. By the 1820s, the first party system collapsed and a second one emerged. Andrew Jackson and the Democrats promoted populism and majority rule, while the Whig Party supported economic modernization, infrastructure projects, and business development. Then slavery completely reshaped American politics again. In the 1850s, the Republican Party was founded, largely to oppose the expansion of slavery into the Western territories. This began the third party system. The Republicans, led by Abraham Lincoln, became associated with abolition, Reconstruction, and a stronger national government. At the same time, many white Southerners strongly supported the Democratic Party. After the Civil War, Republicans became dominant in the North, while Democrats controlled much of the South for generations. But politics still kept evolving. By the late 1800s and the early 1900s, what historians call the fourth party system, the country was industrializing rapidly. The major political debates shifted away from slavery and towards tariffs, banking policy, labor rights, and economic reform. Republicans generally supported business interests and protective tariffs, while Democrats often pushed for reforms and different monetary policies. Then the Great Depression changed American politics again. During the fifth party system, beginning in the 1930s, Franklin Delano Roosevelt transformed the Democratic Party through the New Deal. Democrats became associated with labor unions, welfare programs, and larger federal government. But the Democratic coalition had a major contradiction inside it. Northern liberals and black voters increasingly supported civil rights, while many white Southern Democrats strongly opposed racial integration. That tension finally exploded during the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. Democratic President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act and Voting Rights Act, major laws aimed at ending segregation and protecting black voting rights. Many white Southern conservatives reacted against these changes and gradually began moving towards the Republican Party. At the same time, black voters increasingly aligned with the Democrats because of the party's support for civil rights legislation. That transition led into the sixth party system, beginning in the late 60s, early 1970s. Democrats became more associated with civil rights, environmental protections, and socially liberal policies, while Republicans, under leaders like Ronald Reagan, became more associated with social conservatism, free market economics, and business interests. So when people talk about the party switch, they're usually describing this long-term geographic and ideological realignment, especially in the South. The parties didn't literally wake up one morning and trade platforms overnight. Instead, the issues America faced changed over time, and the parties evolved along with them. The biggest switch wasn't necessarily beliefs changing instantly, it was the movement of voter coalitions. For most of American history, Democrats dominated the South, but today the South is one of the strongest Republican regions in the country. So, the party switch is really better understood as a long process of political realignment that unfolded across more than 200, almost 250 years of American history.